Hello YouTube, this is FAL, the Metal Modeler, coming at you again. This is in response to Alan, aka Mokanaman, his 2,000 subscriber contest that he's doing. And what I thought I'd show him and you guys is, especially the people who are beginning this hobby, my plan of preparation before I paint my Gundams. And so the first step always is we'll use my Justice Gundam as an example, as I'm going to be painting this pretty soon in the future. Once I put this all together, this is how I start configuring out. We'll start by the bottom here and with the foot. And as you can see, there's two different parts. And what I want to avoid is to do a lot of masking. Masking is a major pet peeve for me. I do prefer to avoid it as much as possible by basically having separate parts. So as we can see, this has three separate parts here. And about this is that we can easily, well, it's not going to be so easy to take this part off, but here, let me try this. Okay, so as we see, we got three separate parts here. And what I would do basically is to paint these all separate to get a better result in the look of it. So yes, we can just paint this in gray, paint these two parts in pink, and then after the painting process, we just put it back together, and those parts would be done and painted. All you have to do left is a little bit of the detailing, and then start moving down. And so we got one separate color here that we can paint. There is two pieces here, so of course what we want to do is clean up the seals here. And usually I do what everybody else does, is basically glue the two parts together, squeeze them until the glue squeezes out, and then clean it up with some sandpaper. So that part's solved. And yeah, let's take this whole thing apart here. Not all of it, but not to show you what I'm trying to show you. Okay, so we got the leg here. As we can see, there's well, you can't really see it, my camera's bad. There's a seam line here where the white goes, and these are two separate parts that are part of this leg. And there is the seam line right to here, right in the middle. And probably what I would do is to basically, oh, okay, so I see there's another part here. I'll just take this apart first. There's this back thruster. What I would do is to basically take all the parts apart here, as we can see with the white. Take the leg part too. Let's see what we got inside here that's holding this back thruster together. And what it looks like is that we got a peg that seems like it is basically you can't really execute a good plan to get this to where you can cut out a quarter shape out of this slot here, and to when you put the leg back together, to after you clean it up and painted, that this would actually go and pop right in, which I do with a lot of my high grade models. So I think the best bet for this, since I look at it and it looks like this thing is not really a movable piece, nor that it really makes a difference, that would be really important to this part, is to basically cut off the pegs here. And then so that gives me a lot more leeway to actually put this part together again, clean this up, and then you know, after I'm done painting it, and well, let's do this real quick here. Show you. Pop off the pegs here, cut off the pegs here, and so paint this. And then what I would do is basically glue inside here to avoid getting any glue on the paint after you're done painting it, and basically slip this in right here. So that'd be a problem solved. I mean, basically I use these, I mean, these are models. They always stay in the same position when I'm done with them, so this to me would not really be a problem. I'm more about the look of them than I am of really the articulation or moving them around too much, you know. And really this one, by doing this, wouldn't really be a problem, as this thing doesn't really move and it doesn't affect the articulation of this model. And so moving up, luckily we have this part that separates. Alright, so you can pretty much clean up the seam lines on this, get this set up for painting. Got this, of course, middle seam line, but there's nothing else attached to it, so this will be easy to basically clean up the seam lines and get this ready for paint. Okay, so we move up here for the waist here, and what we got here is the front flap, which seems like it comes apart separately, so as most of them do. So this wouldn't be a problem painting it to whatever you want to in two separate pieces, so easy enough. Yes, of course, this part seems like it's separate. Sword or the handle seems good, so yeah, that very minor detailing on here, so that's easy. This part back here, separate, you know, I broke it, but that's okay because I'm going to glue it anyway, so no problems here. Just paint this, you know, goes the same with the leg here. Okay, so now we move up to the upper part of the body, and we'll start by the hand. And usually with some of these models that let's try it with this one because I already got this one kind of prepped. Alright, well, we see the shield here, so this part comes apart, the purple and the white of the shield can both be pulled apart and painted in the separate colors, except for here. Usually on master grades this part would be probably separate. These would be here, the little exhaust parts right here, you know, so basically you do have to do a lot of masking on that, well, a lot, or just masking in general to get the different colors in there. So unfortunately with high grades you do have to do a lot of masking with these, so not like the master grades, which all the parts will come apart separately, even where they where there would be seam lines on high grades, because like with the engineering for master grades is that it seems like they try to avoid any appearance of any seam lines, which is pretty awesome, but some of us really can't afford those all the time, so I just do a lot of high grades, as they're, you know, between $10 to $30 anyways. So as we take apart the arm, we see that this is one whole piece that could be cleaned up and painted, so that's good. One whole separate piece, awesome. Another piece that could be painted by itself, good. Okay, so now we have a problem. This is where where pretty much high grades are high grades. We got three different pieces here, or three different parts of this arm that come together, and of course this one's white, pink, and this is pink. Okay, so usually I take these apart and I see that this part has two little parts that actually stick in to the shoulder here, and usually I look for where it fits in there. So what I see is that there's basically a slot in here that what I did was basically made an opening in here, so where this can actually just slide in. So when you actually put this together and glue it, clean it up and paint it, this should be, after it's done painting, be able to be glued in there, slipped right in. It's not problem solved. Okay, so I noticed that on this arm piece, usually on a lot of these high grades, is that it's really easy on the shoulder piece that you can actually do a quarter opening, to where when this piece is done painted and everything, and this one too, usually you could just pop that in. But as you can kind of see here, the pegs are a lot bigger than the shoulder width, so unfortunately that can't be avoided. So this one is the one that's going to have to take the sacrifice of actually being either masked, or better yet, this is a painted piece. I mean, this is all one color, sorry. So what I would do usually with this is maybe go ahead and just airbrush the whole thing, or paint the whole thing, and then the parts that I could not get in with the airbrush, move it a little bit after it's done drying, and paint that part, and continue painting until all the whole thing is completely painted. So unfortunately, I wish it was a little bit easier to be able to put these two together in that method, but it looks like it's unavoidable. Okay, so now we got the chest piece. These two parts, the exhaust, is two separate pieces, so you could take these two off and paint those. Chest piece, one color. This comes apart, so you can cut, so you can paint these separately. Very good. And then I noticed that well, this is not a prime example, but most of the time this abdomen part will usually be a separate piece from the chest. And what you'll get when you take this apart, hold on one second. Okay, is that there would be like two holes, kind of like this one right here. I have these two holes here that would be separate, that would that this abdomen part would attach inside the chest piece. Well, this one doesn't, of course, but majority of the time this is a separate piece. So what I would do is basically cut off the two pegs on this thing and paint them, and then after that, basically this would this ab part would basically just slip right in, and then you can just glue it and then stay in place. So there's the chest part. Okay, so now we got the backpack here. This part looks fine. Of course, there's like a white part that goes right here and some yellow right here, so of course we'd have to mask, but luckily this is all linear, so this shouldn't be a problem to mask. You should be able to do this without even using an X-Acto knife and basically cutting that part apart. So that's good. This part comes apart. This part comes apart. You can paint all these separately. Very good. These come separately. Paint these separately. Paint these separately. So what you end up getting is one big purple piece that's all in one mold. Well, basically all in one color. You know, it would have been nice that if these would have been able to come apart, but unfortunately now we got to mask this if we want to have this detailed. The vent masking around here, so we can paint this black, you know, and same here. Then we got the thrusters. They're one separate piece, but like these, when you put these together, are pretty much set in here. This goes along with basically the rudders here too on this thing. So it has basically a part right here that this is lodged into on here where this slot is, and so you couldn't really do that. You'd have to do the masking, or basically what I did was cut basically these two parts off here where it attaches, and then you just get like a straight narrow piece that you can easily just glue into place and it would set. And now you got the thrusters, which are a separate piece too, but once again, once you put this thing together, it's stuck in there. So what I did was, after, oops, sorry about that, glue this, took these things out, and then I glued this together. And what I did before I glued these was route out the part where these attach to. So then I have an opening part to where I could just take this, cut out, round it out a little bit, cut out the edges to where this thing would be stuck in there, and make it a little bit easier for me to basically glue the back here, and after it's all done painted, slip in there without scratching any of the paint, and then it'd fit perfectly. So then I could just paint this separately from this part. And so there you have it. Of course, yeah, so this is the only part where it seems like there's going to be a lot of masking on, and like I said, with high grades it's unavoidable to do a lot of this as opposed to master grades, because master grades, like I said, just have like all the pieces come apart to where it's just accessible to paint all the parts separately. So this is I hope you find this very helpful. This is basically just how I execute things to paint. So hopefully you guys will take this advice. I hope it's good advice. I'm just taking a shot at it. So let me know what you think, please, and see how hopefully you guys can come up with other methods, because I'm willing to try out anything. So, but yeah, this is what I know for now. So let me know what you think. Alright, thanks. Bye.